Hello, Howie G. Thank you for co-hosting tonight.
Good to be back, Howie.
Good to have you back. And did you make me co-host?
Yes, I have.
Thank you so much. See you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, we will wait for a few moments to have an official welcome and beginning. We're actually doing better tonight than usual. It's been usually typically about 25 at the turn of the hour, and we already have 30, so just one more minute. Rest your weary minds in natural great peace. Okay, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your presence. Welcome to Mission Dharma Online. Our mission is Dharma, is truth. Used to be associated with the neighborhood. It still is to a degree, the Mission District in San Francisco. But now Mission Dharma is just about the mission of Dharma, of remaining, learning how to remain sane in an insane world. How important it is, how necessary it is for us to fortify ourselves for the benefit of all, to fortify ourselves for the long road ahead with clear seeing, with wise understanding, a well-collected, well-developed heart and mind, and commitment to non-harming. All these things are essential for the road ahead and for every moment that we live. The sitting part of our being together is just one of the big supports for maintaining sanity and creating the possibility that we can each be a stable refuge for the people who have to live around us every day, and the people who are really, even if it's you some of the time, but people who are dysregulated by the whatever situation that is facing them, whether it's their relationship to our culture, our politics, our health. The world needs stable. The world needs stable people. And so I can see this as only this being together and sitting quietly, sharing some teachings, confessing our delusions. I see this as only value added to a world that is basically driven by what the Buddha described as the three poisons that cause stress to us and to the world. The three poisons being greed, aversion, hatred, and delusion, ignorance. There's just such plentiful ignorance. And most of it innocent. So forgivable. But nevertheless, it has to be navigated, and so our practice is part of that. So let's not talk about it anymore. Let's practice. I'm practicing right tonight to be a stable refuge for my own internal process as well as the world. And so may you find whatever it is that inspires you to practice, and let that guide and give support to your 40 minutes or so. So as we come together, maybe one moment of reflection, of knowing that we are together here and holding each other up, supporting each other. I know that I'm sustained by having you present with me, less likely to wander off, get distracted into some other more frivolous activity. We call each other here. We lift each other up. So just take in the support that you receive from the Sangha, the support that you are offering the Sangha. And just know as your eyes close that the Sangha supports your seclusion, just withdrawing right now into your interior, alone, together with others. With the eyes closed softly, feeling the sitting body from the inside, and feeling the life of this body until it's no longer a body, it's a field of sensations, aliveness, always here while we're alive, calling us here. That's its blessing, allowing us to connect with each other. It's His blessing. So per the Buddha's recommendation, we put our mind, bring our scattered minds into our bodies and let our bodies fill our awareness. So any dividing line between awareness and body melts away into the oneness of our practice. Body still, mind still, stilling, not because we're trying to still it, because that's what happens when mind and body come together. Of course, that stilling illuminates ways that we may not feel still. We may not feel calm. Yet the calming is beginning, in spite of how we may feel momentarily. The steadying is occurring. The focus is growing. And we just keep using every presently arising sensation and breath to support us staying here long enough for there to be a letting go of wanting to be somewhere else. Just settling in. From moment to moment, we keep coming back to this simple experience of sitting, breathing, and just sinking into that experience and sticking to it, spreading out all around it, not missing any part of this miracle of awareness and embodiment. Just this moment, just this breath, just this sitting body. Just for these moments of noticing, of presence, we let go of our usual preoccupations. We don't push them away, we simply orient ourselves to this immediate experience of sitting and breathing. And while we're here, we welcome what else becomes predominant. We welcome sounds, we welcome moods, we welcome thoughts and images that may float through our mind like clouds. But as we practice mindfulness, kindfulness, bodyfulness, we're also practicing non-clinging or letting go. We let everything come and go. We cling to nothing. Our mind open like the sky. But intimate, alert, precise in our feeling of the presently arising sensations, or whatever it is that's predominant. Resting in a state of being aware. And seeing how long it lasts. Knowing that we may, from time to time, get lost in thought. When the sun shines through again and we wake up to where we are, we celebrate, we relax, don't look back, we don't judge, we just connect again with the body and the sense of being aware. Let your attention be imbued with kindness. Just keep putting the puppy back on the paper very gently, lovingly. When you get absorbed, and you realize you've gotten absorbed in worries or plans or memories. No matter how many times you realize you've been just drifting in the imaginary world, each one of those moments is a moment of recognition, is a moment of mindful attention, coming back online. And once you wake up to where you are, appreciate that and gently reconnect with the body, which will hopefully anchor you here. Sitting, touching, breathing, just this moment. Thank you, as always, for your practice. Really appreciated sitting with you tonight. Felt like it was the perfect thing to do. It's one of those things, practicing, whether it's alone or together, it's one of those things we never regret. I wish I wouldn't have done that. Always feels good to practice. Bit of a truth serum. It lets you see what's going on and metabolize. And, leave some open questions. That's all. That's okay, because that's the state of mind to which we can discover. Our intuition can work if we don't know. Just, it's funny, when I said the word "don't know," this evening I want to check in with you, but I was having this conversation with my wife, who I consider a deva, an angel, an incredible blessing, and that she's very human and just tells it like it is with me. And she would probably not want me to say this right now, but she's kind of a little bit up to her neck in with some of the things that have been going on in our orbit, with the laws of impermanence and, and dukkha, and some of the teaching, even though she's a deep practitioner. And I always, if it's not her, it's my daughter early other times, but they're my gurus. But anyway, tonight, I just, even though after she said that thing about impermanence, I was sitting tonight, and just what bubbled up was this quote, which unfortunately I don't have with me, but I can give you a little paraphrase. But at the heart of it is the teaching on impermanence. So I'll just share a little bit of the quote, and then we'll check in, and then I'll tell you some stories about how it may be relevant to my life, even though I don't want to draw any attention to myself in that way. But Ajahn Sumedho, one of my teachers, wonderful monk, great character, he had this passage about how everything is marked with impermanence, and that's what our practice is all about, helping us see the common elements in everything that's happening in our world, what we're going through, that the really difference between ordinary people and Buddhas, people who are awake to reality, is the Buddhas know that whatever arises passes away, and whatever arises and passes away cannot give us lasting satisfaction, is basically unsatisfactory, unreliable, and whatever arises and passes away is selfless. It's a change. Things are happening according to their own nature, not always according to our will and our wish. And so he likened this. He used the example of the sand grains of the Ganges River. That everything that we experience is like sand grains of the Ganges River, always in a state of flux, and that some sand grains are beautiful and some are ugly. And we can see that in our world. Some things are beautiful. We never want to forget the beauty. We need that to gladden our hearts. But some things are really ugly. But everything, like a sand grain, is changing. And even an ugly sand grain is just a sand grain in that way. And he says, do you think you have to emotionally respond if you see our changing world as sand grains? Do you think you have to emotionally respond to every sand grain, getting ecstatic over the beautiful and overwhelmed by the ugly. He said, if you saw me sitting along the Ganges River, emotionally responding to every sand grain, you'd think I was crazy. And but that's what we do, and we exhaust ourselves with this turmoil in our minds, and and then in order to deal with it, we hide ourselves away in fear and dullness. We check out. He says, instead of hiding away in fear and dullness, why don't you become even brighter and brighter? And that's what we do when we practice. And then see the sand grains as they are, and see as a Buddha would, that whatever arises passes away. And that's what Buddhas know. So I couldn't resist, even though I was in a sense encouraged not to over talk about impermanence. But whatever is happening in the world right now, it's a sand grain. And of course we're going to emotionally react sometimes, but this part is very optional. And we can't necessarily always change the sand grains of the Ganges, but we can change our relationship to them. And we can work with that. And that's really in some ways, the opportunity of our practice, the promise of our practice. And each of us is like a sand grain of the Ganges River as well. Some parts of ourselves beautiful, some not so. We open and entertain them all. So put that aside for a while. I want to hear if there are any comments, questions about your practice tonight, any topics that emerged. Then I have a few more things about me and the world. But don't hesitate. And please, Stephen.
Yeah. It's kind of an emotional issue, and you're talking about emotions, and I kind of want to let this go, but
Does it, let me stop you for a second. Does it reinforce it to speak about it, or does it, because, sometimes when we talk about things, it actually just reinforces the whole story and identity. So I'm wondering, I want to just leave you with that question before you tell me, and maybe not, and maybe yes. So it's up to you.
well, it's more like being able to let go. Like,
What does that mean, letting go to you, if I may ask?
letting go means letting it fall around like sand.
Okay, okay,
Let it
great.
go, let it go away. Just
Oh, no, no, no. Letting go doesn't mean let it go away. Let it
no,
go means don't cling to it. It means,
don't play. I mean, don't be attached to it.
yeah,
Just let the sand go. So today, I thought that I didn't want to see this counselor anymore because I didn't like what she said. And so I spoke to two people about it, and they said, don't see her. But then I went to see her, and it was actually very helpful. It actually resolved some things.
nice.
But I felt superstitious that maybe I'll get fired at my job tomorrow because I spoke to her and I let go of my loyal friends. But I don't know, but it helped me it really did help resolve a deep seated issue. And I felt like
Okay.
it was worth it. And I don't really want to feel, guilty about it. I think it was a good thing. And I just want to let it go that, so what? I talked to a couple people. Just let it go, let the sand go. I just want to let it go and go to Buddha.
Well, I'm happy for you that you felt relief. And just as long as letting go doesn't imply getting rid of it, implies letting it be, letting it take its natural course, allowing it, because as soon as letting go means getting rid of, then there's often a little struggle in that. But letting
I
go
want to
just
let it go like the sand falling down.
great. Yeah. So whatever happened today is gone. And whatever happens tomorrow is in the realm of the unborn. So that best way to let go is to take in the blessing of whatever you experience today, and to let go of and whatever anticipation of tomorrow, or notice the anticipation of tomorrow, and that's it. There's nothing more going on except you and I talking.
Yeah, and I want to let go of the superstitious, that I'll feel punished for this. I want to let go of that too.
Yeah, yeah, just notice, there's the superstitious mind. That's not you. You're not defined by it. It's just a, just a thought in the mind.
Just want to let it go and
There you
enjoy
go.
tomorrow. Thank you.
Good intention. Love it. Anybody else? Let go, let be as is. That's my mantra. Let go, let be as is. Because the tendency is to turn letting go into something that you do instead of just something that happens naturally, like the sand grains of the Ganges River. Other. Okay. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Lucia.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Um, yeah, this is my first time here and I'm happy to be
Welcome.
here.
Oh, I remember you from a retreat,
Silent retreat, yeah.
MMTCP retreat, correct or no?
It was the 5-day silent retreat with, I don't know, in December.
And it was on the online retreat?
Yes.
That's right. I remember you from that.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it's a little bit late for me here, so I might not be able to stay the whole time because it's past my bedtime. But I really appreciate it, and I know that I can watch the rest, tomorrow or whenever on the YouTube video. I was wondering. About images, like if visions come up, not that that happens a lot, but I know it can happen in meditation. And do you just treat them just like everything else? You just be with it and allow it to be as it is, or maybe you have something to say on that?
Yes, thank you for the question. In general, anything that presents itself, any sense experience, whether it's inner sight or outer sight, we notice it as a sense experience, as seeing. And and with all meditation objects, we don't do anything about them. We don't try to undo them. We don't try to get rid of them. We let them be. And so we treat it just like you would anything else, just seeing, seeing. And that's quite a natural part of our practice from time to time is imagery that just floats through our mind. Sometimes it can come associated with our mind inclining a little towards sleep. So a little bit of dreamlike or hypnagogic states sometimes, but it can come even when you're quite bright. You can have all kinds of images float through your mind. It's just seeing. So we don't do anything about them. We don't analyze them, interpret them. Mindfulness, as I often say, doesn't have any other agenda other than to just notice. So it's not solving anything or fixing. But sometimes, when we see something or see an image, there may be an intuition about it, but we don't extend it, nor do we try to get rid of it. We'll see that its nature is like the sand grains of the Ganges River. It comes and it moves and something else comes.
Thank you. Very beautiful.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Welcome, Lucia. Glad that you're glad that you're here with us at Mission Dharma, and same with the rest of you. I'm kind of resisting this next part because some of it has to do with me, and I don't like to draw a lot of attention to my own internal drama or external drama. But I have been informing the group over the last 3 weeks or so. Actually, it went from, I just started to feel pretty normal just a day or two ago. Actually, today is the first day where I don't feel like my head is funny, but I've had COVID and the effects of COVID for basically the entire month of February. And in the middle of that, I've had some cycles that I initially experienced as really unfortunate, really strange, and really weird. And I'll just tell you about a little vignette that happened right in the middle, and this will lead into what I'm about to tell you. But I don't know how much I said about this on Tuesday night, but I think about 7 days into COVID, I had just completed a partial prescription of Paxlovid. A few days later, I started to have really kind of frightening symptoms of feeling like I was going to pass out, shortness of breath, etc. Some of you know about this. And I was alarmed enough, and I started to feel a kind of distortion in my perception of reality. And so I got really spooked and went into a partial panic attack. No, a full-blown panic attack. I shouldn't downplay this at all. It was really out there. And out there enough to go to the emergency room. So this all sounds very unfortunate. And maybe you all know the story, which I actually brought a copy along with me tonight, of the famous parable about the farmer. I'll tell you the story and then I'll get back to me. It says, a farmer and his son had a beloved horse who helped the family earn a living. One day the horse ran away, and the neighbors exclaimed, "Your horse ran away, what terrible luck!" And the farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not." A few days later, the horse returned home, leading a few wild horses back to the farm as well. The neighbors shouted, "Your horse has returned!" And he brought several horses with him. "What great luck!" Farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not." Later that week, the farmer's son was trying to break one of the horses, and she threw him to the ground, and his leg was broken. Neighbors cried, "Your son broke his leg. What terrible luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not." A few weeks later, soldiers from the National Army marched through the town, recruiting all boys for the army. They did not take the farmer's son because his leg had broken. The neighbors shouted, "Your boy is spared. What tremendous luck." To which the farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not." So we never know whether something is fortunate or unfortunate. But in my case, when I got there and they saw that my vision was kind of distorted, they immediately put me into a CAT scan, a brain scan. And when they came back from I was still kind of disoriented, but I had calmed down. They'd given me a little something to calm me down. They came into the room and said, "We found something in your brain scan. You have a big tumor, and it's probably cancer." So needless to say, my wife and I were quite overwhelmed by this reality. But they said, "We want you to, because you're part of Kaiser Permanente, we're going to put you on an ambulance." And I'm up in Marin County. They put me on an ambulance and took me to Redwood City, which is down on the peninsula, to the neurosurgery hospital of Kaiser Permanente. This is just right in the middle of COVID. So I'm kind of going along for the ride, and in moments, very lucid and clear, but also just overwhelmed by the seemingly misfortune that I was experiencing. And my wife and I, dealing together, and she was just remarkable, just at my side in every moment. So we went to the hospital there, they checked me in, and then the next morning they gave me or maybe that's the next morning, because it was 1 a.m. at this point, and they gave me an MRI. And they came into the room, and long story short, they told me that it was, as it's called a meningioma, which is very common. And 97% of the time it is benign. But because it's putting a little pressure here and there, you need to have it removed. So tomorrow, and so that was an incredibly fortunate thing that came to realize this benign tumor that is putting pressure and actually affecting my vision, which was, I found out it's actually impaired my vision and my peripheral vision in one eye. But totally, I don't know about the vision, but the meningioma, which is, it's a thing that's not in the brain, it cozies up to the brain. It's from the meninges or whatever you call it that's surrounds the brain. And putting enough pressure where it was causing some swelling. And any of you doctors will know all about this, and you've probably either been involved with them thousands of times, but I hadn't been. And they let us stew a little bit in the hospital before they told us about the benign nature, the likely benign nature of it. And during that time, and I reported the first time that I talked about COVID, that I was dealing with it was so obvious that I didn't know the level I had been clinging to what in the teachings are called the three enchantments or the three prides, the pride in youth, pride in health, and pride in life. And those of you who come every week may remember when I talked about that a few weeks back. Because those three prides, youth, health, and life, just evaporated in real time. And I experienced, and my wife and I experienced together, just the full experience, what you might think of an unfortunate experience, but turns out it's kind of fortunate. I felt the complete falling away of any ground of security. I felt like I was in a sea of groundlessness. And yet, once I got used to that, I realized we are always, that funny joke about when somebody asks you how you're doing, you say so far so good. When the person who said so far so good, as they have fallen off a cliff and they're floating, and so far so good. But fortunately, in this, as we fall, the good news is there is no ground, so we can find our bearings in the openness of reality, which I did. And so now I actually feel pretty balanced, but I am tomorrow going into surgery, and that's I'm a little nervous about it. I have in moments because I don't know what that's like, but I have the feeling that I'll just jump through the hoops and give myself over. Stephen, if you're still here, I'll let go into not knowing, and hopefully I wake up and I see you again the next time. I tell you this story tonight because this is what's going on with me, and there are really practical values in having a practice that keeps reminding us of the necessity of letting go, and letting go all the time, letting be, letting things, just opening to life as it is. How much extra stress can be avoided by a mind that stays pretty present and doesn't jump into time too excessively, where I burden myself not only with the challenge of what I actually have to deal with moment to moment, but the extra burden of worry and fear and the projection of things in time, which I can do nothing about right now. And so the practice is so practical for that. And I wanted to use that as just a slight lead into the what many people are facing right now with this coup that's going on in our government. I mean, it's pure madness. And one, we don't know what the outcome will be, fortunate, unfortunate. Two, the same thing is necessary. We need to, it's beautiful that there's such tremendous resistance going, and hopefully that resistance grows, and it grows without hatred. It grows with a full understanding of the systemic nature of everything that's happening, that it's not any one particular person's fault. So our tendency to just zero in on the enemy and not see the wider picture, not keep a wider view is very strong. And so the Dharma keeps reminding us to remain in a sense of not knowing. Fight like hell, but also remember that parable of I forgot what it's the blind men and the elephant. You all familiar with the blind men and the elephant? Blind men and the elephant. This elephant comes to town. They've never experienced an elephant, and they all go and they touch the elephant and trying to feel what's an elephant like. And one of them feels like it's a wall. One of them feels like it's a pillar. One of them I forgot what the other ones were. But everyone who's feeling that elephant just has a very partial understanding. And so we can't get too committed to our views. We have to stay open in a way. At the same time, when you see cruelty, when you see harm being caused, it's so obvious, we must practice resistance in every way we can. And it's getting louder, and that's a good thing. But it's also important, as I started this evening, that as a yogi, because so many people are so dysregulated, that you can be the reminder of the quiet, that you know that you can return to quiet. Even if your mind is jangled in many moments, even if you forget, get lost, you know that you can return to quiet, to the natural great peace and ease in you, that lives in you as you, that is available every moment. When you don't look back and you don't look ahead, quiet dawns again when we just stop. And so that's what I'm doing as I navigate both the world and this process that I'm going to be going through tomorrow. As I'm remembering the quiet the best I can. Of course, I jump into time naturally. It's the unknown presents. It easily triggers moments of anxiety, but it's just anxiety, and even anxiety can bring me back to the quiet. Can remind me of my love of quiet. So let's see if there's anything else I wanted to say about that. Yeah, I just think that we have to remember the quiet. It's a long road for all of us, just to navigate our own individual lives, our own individual minds, this world, this politics, whatever it is. And within us, we have a reliable refuge that it's not going to be our body, obviously, even though, as I said, what a blessing our body is to anchor us to the present moment. That's our doorway to the quiet, but also to realize that our bodies are ultimately not reliable refuges, but the quiet in us is a place that we can rely on. That's the wakefulness that's in us. That's what we mean by I go to the Buddha for refuge. That Buddha means awake, aware. And then the second refuge, while I'm talking about it, is the way things are, the Dharma, the truth. I go to the Dharma for refuge. And then tonight I really feel it, the third refuge, I go to the Sangha for refuge. I go to those teachings, those beings being you tonight that remind me and support me to remember the Buddha, to remember the quiet. And above all, maybe above all, we just do the best we can, and we'll do the best we can. Keep that as our mantra. Anyway, thanks for listening, and hopefully I won't see you next week, but please come and support whoever's leading, and I'll be back a couple weeks from now, and we'll go from there. And I promise not to talk too much about what I went through. I'll let it spill out in little dribs and drabs, or whatever you call that expression. And I really, yeah, just felt like I had to tell the truth about it, and it seemed to dovetail so much with what's happening in the world. And so I wish all of you well, peace, and remember the quiet. So let's see. Howie G, do we have any? I don't think we have any announcements tonight, unless you have one. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know about upcoming things, but I always love to talk about Donna, and I'll make it really quick. Can you hear me? I assume that you can. Yeah. So here's my take on it tonight. That I know there are people in Canada, there are people in the United States here. Current events just show that the things that we take for granted that we think are going to be around forever could change in a blink. You know, this is basically reiterating what you just said. And the things we cherish and the things that we need, or I need, are the things that I really appreciate. And I'm talking about the Sangha. And Howie and Mr. Dharma's been here for me for over 30 years. And even if you're here for the first time, or like me, a long time or an occasional, it's no guarantees, I mean, so if you, like me, sometimes neglect or forget or just postpone, tonight might be a very good time to recommit, because I think we all know how valuable having Howie and having the Sangha is. So if you can make a financial donation, in addition to all the other good things that we're doing, I just highly recommend it.
Thank you, Howie G. And thank you all for your practice. I'd like to invite you to say goodnight to each other and
We
hear
love
each
you,
other's
Howie.
voices. Love you back.
Love and prayers to
Night.
Howie for
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank
Be in
you.
our hearts.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Howie.
Good
We're
night.
Well,
thinking
Good
of
luck,
you.
Howie.
All
Good
the
night,
best to
everyone.
dreams.
Good luck.
Bye,
Take care.
everybody. Love you. Love you, Holly.
Love you. Love you. Big
Thank
love.
you.
Good
Big
night.
love, big love.
Big love from
Good
Nashville.
luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
so
yeah.
much, everybody. Thank you, Howie.
Great. Thank you.
Howie.
Okay.
Love and prayers.
Thank you,
Thank
Howie.
you, Howie G.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, Howie.
We'll be sending lots of love.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. You're a treasure.
Thank you.
And thank you
everyone.
for a great teaching tonight, too.
Thank
Very needed. Thank you.
Howie, just to say, I had a meningioma removed 2 years ago. It was a fascinating ride. It was fun. It was really interesting. We'll have a good time.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. There you go.
It's just what I needed to hear. That was
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Enjoy the anesthesia.
Bye-bye.
the anesthesia. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, Howie.